Hey, what is going on, you guys? It's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing representing the squad, and I'm going over an update on my Darklord deck profile. This deck is pretty interesting. There's a lot of different ways you play it, and that's one of the things that I like it. I've put a lot of integrations in it in the past. Even prior to making this deck profile, I've done a lot of variations. This is actually variation number 27 for Darklords. It's not close to how many builds I've done on Herald, but you can see 27 different builds on how I play Darklords on my channel, because it's one of those decks that I like a lot. For some reason, fairies just happen to be my favorite kind of monsters, and Darklords are pretty interesting, the things that they can do. This is more or less pure Darklords. It's very aggressive, but it has a control aspect that I really like it, because it can set up boards that actually are decent enough to tank with this meta. So let's hop into the main deck, and you'll see my card choices as we go along. So starting with monsters, we played 3 copies of Darklord Yugioh. Yugioh is pretty much your trade-in slash allure. It's a 2-for-2 exchange. You discard and draw 2. What I really like about her is the fact that she's level 10 and she has 2900 defense. She's the only reason why you can go into ranked 10s, and for that reason alone, that's why we're playing Yugioh. I'm just playing. That's not the only reason. And then we have 2 Taz. I call him the Tasmanian Devil because his name's too hard to pronounce, so I just call him Taz. He's a hand trap that pretty much is like a pseudo Return of the Dragon Lords. If a Darklord monster or monsters you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you discard him instead. He does not start chain links. He does not interfere chain links. Even through the resolution of a chain link, you can activate this card, which is really cool. Just food for thought. He's also a 2800 beater on the field, and he's a level 9, so he's the reason why I can summon True King of all calamities in my deck. Then we have 2 copies of Nastin. Nastin is pretty interesting because he's another way for you to get your field presence. He discards Darklord cards to special summon himself, and he's 26 either way. So attack or defense, he's solid. Every single Darklord that is pretty much the newer ones that came out in Destiny Soldiers all have an effect where you can pay 1,000 life points, target, pay 1,000 for cost, and also target a Darklord spell or trap for cost in your graveyard. Apply that card's effect, but you don't apply its costs, which is really insane, because some of them have costs you don't want to pay, and this is a way to play around that. You apply its effect but not its cost, and then shuffle it into the deck afterwards. And we also played 2 copies of Douchebag. I play 2 of each one of these because their levels matter for when I sometimes I want to change my extra deck to play rank 6s and rank 7s, and having 2 of each allow you to do so. But for the most part, they literally all have the same secondary effect, but the first effect differentiates. So she's the trade-in. He is your Return of the Dragon Lords. He just summons himself, and this one can discard itself in another Darklord card to add 1 Darklord card from your grave to your hand. This has been able to allow me to grind to add my traps, because sometimes I desires, and I banish too many of my traps, so I have to work with the traps I have in grave. So I'll use this, add it back, and then activate it, then use the trap again from grave by applying it through one of their effects, which is really, really cool. And then you have 3 copies of Darklord Superbia. He's pretty much a monster reborn for any fairies, which is really cool. I actually did Darklord Herald of Perfection Zodiacs and Darklord Herald of Perfection. Those were variations in the, I think, 30s. Definitely check those out because they're pretty interesting. Something else to note about this card is it's not a hard once per turn. In fact, it's not a once per turn at all. It just whenever it's special summon, you bring back a fairy from the grave. But keep in mind that when you're using the Darklord's effects and you're using your contact from grave, this card will miss timing, because the last thing that happened was not it being summoned. It is a win effect and not if. So it has its flaws, but I think where every strength is, there has to be a weakness. That's the balance of Yugioh. Then we have 2 Raigeki Rados. He's pretty much, every time you summon him, you're going to be blowing your opponent's field up. You discard 1 dark monster and you destroy all monsters your opponent controls. That effect really should be banned, because this is like literally Raigeki, except it's not like the Supreme King Dragon Clearwing. He destroys all monsters regardless of their position, whether they're face up or face down. And during the end phase, you'll send this card to the graveyard if you use that effect. He's never going to stay on the field long enough. You're always going to link summon or go into an XYZ with him afterwards. And also, he can still attack the turn that you use that effect. The only cost is discarding, and that's totally fine. So he's pretty strong. He's one of the reasons why this deck can play pretty comfortably going second. Then we played 2 Darklord Christia. Pretty easy to get this on the field. You can load your grave and manipulate your grave to special it. Also, remember that Superbia summons fairies from the grave. So if you trade this in and it's in the grave, you can contact for Superbia and Superbia to bring this back, and you have a lock, which is really cool. And then you play 1 Blue Boy for the only normal summon of the deck, because the Spellbook engine does help to get that +1. And since you don't have a normal summon, I was like, why not just make the normal summon Blue Boy? More draw power never hurt. For our spells, we play 3 Banishment of the Darklords. This is the Stratos for any Darklord card, literally. And even though it's a hard once per turn, the Darklords break that mechanic because they can apply any of these as many times as you want. And also something that's really cool that I want to share with you guys is that the Darklords do target for cost. So when you have these on the field, you can pay 1,000, target this for cost, and then chain and pay 1,000, target this for cost. They will both apply its effect and then shuffle it into the deck. So what's really cool is you can get a +1 off of this, and you can also do the same with your traps, which is really cool. So I just wanted to share that with you for you Darklord players out there so that you can play your deck to a higher ceiling and with more potential, you know, that you can see the potential in this deck as well. Then we have 3 Contact. This is the Monster Reborn for Darklords. It is really the card you want to see every single first turn. You're digging for this or you're trying to search for this. If you don't have this, you'll notice a significant drawback in your turns and all the combos that you can do, because this is really how you're going to maneuver, because obviously every single monster is only tribute summonable because they're not level 4 or lower. So you have to special summon in, and you can't tribute summon unless you have monster special summon. So Contact's pretty strong. It's like the only way that this deck can really play. You can even go the route of Scapegoats if you want to. That's just an option. Then we have 3 Foolish Burial Goods. Foolish Burial Goods is another one of my favorite spells. Definitely goes in the category of my top 3 favorite spells. Any deck that I can play this and it's actually good in, I'm going to play it because I really love this spell. So the Darklord spells and traps really need to be in the grave because you can apply their effects from graves using the Darklords. So this is really cool because there will be games when you'll, for example, get this guy on the field and you're like, you know what? I really need to search another trap. I feel like I don't have enough of the trap. So you could simply play your Foolish Burial Goods, dump your Banishment from your deck to your grave, and then use Nastin and apply its effect and search again. Also, this plays around the fact that this is hard once per turn because you can activate this, search, and then, you know, apply its effect and then get a search off, right? And then if you have another Darklord on the field, you can Foolish Burial Goods, dump it, search again. And it works the same way with the traps and the same way with Contact. You just really want your spells and traps in the grave because sometimes when you don't see them, it helps. So like the other thing, like I was saying, you know, you really want to see Contact, right? This helps you to see Contact because you just put it in the grave and apply its effect that way. So Foolish Burial Goods is pretty strong. It's basically 3 extra copies of any of the Darklord spells and traps that you need it to be. Then for your draw power, you play 3 Allures of Darkness. Darklords are pretty infamous for how they can draw. You're never going to have a problem with not seeing your side deck cards or your one-ups. It's just one of those decks. It draws more than Blue Eyes can. So Soul Charge is more live in this deck than it is in Blue Eyes. And it loads its grave faster than Blue Eyes can. You have 3 copies of Trade-In. Trade-In is so great. You have so many targets. You have, what, 7 targets, and 5 of the 7 are actually searchable. So it's never a dead card. Then you have 2 Spellbook of Secrets to search out your Knowledge or your Blue Boy. And then you have 2 Pot of Desires for the +1 and 1 Spellbook of Knowledge for that same reason. You need the +1. All these spells are just pretty good because they just dig through your deck. Because the one card you really want to see is Contact. Once you see Contact, all you want after that is the Darklord traps. Then we have 1 Upstart and 1 Soul Charge. These one-ups are easy to see. You can cut Upstart, but I just like more draw spells. I'm pretty greedy. And the Soul Charge is amazing because you load your grave so quickly. There have been duels where I've literally just Soul Charged and made like a crazy board alongside like having multiple extra deck monsters. I also just dropping an Arklord Christia next to that. If it's not Dracos, they're going to lose. I like that a lot. And then for your traps, you play 2 Darklord Rebellion, and 2 Darklord Enchantment. These traps are the main reason why this deck can always be competitive. It can always have the viability to be pretty much incorporated into either meta, like regardless of what deck is currently hot. These traps are just going to be able to dominate any deck. Because you have a card that doesn't target it but does destroy, then you have a card that doesn't target and doesn't destroy. So no matter what the monster is, unless it's unaffected by traps and monsters, you're going to be able to take basically dominate it. Because the Darklords, they actually apply these as a monster effect. So keep in mind, if there's a masterpiece that's unaffected, for example, by unaffected by spells and traps, and you use this monster, apply this, that's his monster effect that's doing that, and it'll kill the masterpiece. So pretty much this is a mind control. It doesn't target, and this is like a Raigeki break, and it doesn't target. It just destroys. Their cost is sending a Darklord monster from your hand or your field to the graveyard to destroy a card or take control of a face-up monster. What's really cool is, like I was telling you, these have a cost on the field, but you can pretty much like have these face down. activate them for the cost, and then once they hit the graveyard, the Dark Lords can apply this again and then use its effect without the cost and just snatch a monster and then pop a card. So you have the potential of destroying 3 cards or taking control of 3 monsters or even 4, depending on how many of the traps you open up with. That's why Foolish Burial Goods is so amazing in this deck, because you can search these out or draw into them, and then Foolish Burial Goods and dump another copy of it. So you potentially have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different forms of disruption, which is crazy. So I play 2 and 2 of each because I at least want to draw into one of them. Then the extra deck is full of packages. The first package is the Spider package. I'm going second. This wins you duels. These cards are really insane. Look them up and read them. You will be like just mind blown by what these actually do, especially the 7 Sins. This is just a package that's worthy of being played into your deck. Then we've got a little rank 10 package. Your Itchels allow you to make these. I played the 3 because I like the options. I don't want to be limited to only one play. If I had to cut 2 of these, I cut these 2 and leave this. Because Super Dora can make 1 face-up monster unaffected by any and all card effects until the end of the turn. So it's stronger than Masterpiece because it can basically be a 4K booty that's invincible through like just any means. Your opponent has to kaiju or try to attack over the 4K wall, and you can also protect it with your traps. So you can play Protect the Castle, or you can be aggressive and just get over Masterpiece by literally just popping the diagram with Rebellion and attacking over the Masterpiece with this or any other beater. By making it unaffected by card effects, it's just like, it doesn't matter. Masterpiece is trap monster. This is like spell trap and monster. Really, really strong. I like that. Sky Palace is pretty much going to pop a card on the field and burn your opponent for 1,000. Dreadnought's going to steal games. He's just going to burn your opponent for 2,000, which is pretty heavy. Then we have another package. We have the Galaxy package. I'm going second. This is insane. It increases your ceiling just by playing this package. You're pretty much going to steal a monster. After you go Dark Rebellion enchantment, you're going to use enchantment, steal a monster, use Cypher Dragon, steal another monster, and then you can like go off from there. Then you could go full time, detach, pop a face up, Cypher Blade, detach, pop another one, Dark Matter, detach, attack 2 monsters. You're literally going to break their entire board just by using this package right here. You're going to take 1, you're going to take 2, you're going to take 3, and then the other 2 if there's 5 monsters. If they have 6 monsters, you just enchantment or rebellion. And when you take the monster with this, you can actually still attack with it, which is really, really cool. So this package is amazing. Then we have True King of all Chlamydia, because your Tasmanian Devil is a level 9. You can get them on the field pretty easily. Overlay, make this. And then we have Zombie Stein, Hope Harbinger, Titanic Galaxy, Lancelot, because these are negates. Zombie Stein is really strong because he's 4,500 and he negates any face-up cards. Pretty much, I think, is it till the end of the turn or is it permanent? Okay, until the end phase. Really strong. Spell Negator, anything Negator, anything Negator. And this steals games because he can attack directly, and then afterwards he destroys a face-up card and he can still, like, negate. It's really, really cool. And then 1 Deco Talker. There's occasions where it comes up where I'm, like, enchantmenting twice, and then I'll just use that 1 monster in your 2 and go into Deco Talker so that you don't get them back. And then after that, I can put protection from targeting and a lot of extra monsters. Monsters from the extra monster zone in his zone. So that pretty much concludes my Dark Lord deck profile. Let me know in the comment section below what your honest opinion and feedback is of my Dark Lords. I'm very experienced and seasoned with this deck. I've actually played it since its inception in Destiny Soldiers. So you can pretty much say that I played it ever since it came out. And I really do like the deck a lot. I've done a lot of different builds like Star Seraphs, Arcana Force, the World Lockdown. I've done a lot, but the most competitive build to me is just Pure, and this is the Pure version. But I'm going to go ahead and sign out, you guys. I love you. Make good choices. Don't hurt your brain cells. Stay tuned for future content, and definitely check out some of the other videos we have. You might be mind blown by what you see, and you might be surprised. Peace out, y'all.